Favorite lessons from Learn to Earn. Companies. In the eyes of the law, a corporation is a separate individual that can be punished for bad behavior, usually by the imposition of a fine. That's the main reason owners of a business go to the trouble of getting incorporated. If they do something wrong and they get sued, the corporation takes the rap and they get off the hook. This is a crucial safeguard of our capitalist system, because if shareholders could be sued whenever a company made a mistake, people like you and me would be afraid to buy shares and become investors. Being a shareholder. Being a shareholder is the greatest method ever invented to allow masses of people to participate in the growth and prosperity of a country. It's a two-way street. When a company sells shares, it uses the money to open new stores, or build new factories, or upgrade its merchandise, so it can sell more products to more customers and increase its profits. And as the company gets bigger and more prosperous, its shares become more valuable, so the investors are rewarded for putting their money to such good use. A few lessons from the history of capitalism. A person who owns property and has a stake in the enterprise is likely to work harder and feel happier and do a better job than a person who doesn't. Whenever crowds of people bet their life savings on a hopeless proposition, it's called a mania or a bubble. The pattern is always the same. Frantic investors pay ridiculous prices in order to get in on a spurious opportunity, and sooner or later, the prices come crashing down. Sir Isaac Newton was caught in the bubble and lost a lot of money. "I can calculate the motions of heavenly bodies," he said, "but not the madness of people." Risk and reward in picking stocks. When you are an owner of a company, you only make money if the company succeeds. A lot of them don't. This is the risk of buying stocks. The company you own may turn out to be worthless. It is for taking this risk that people are rewarded so handsomely if they pick the right companies to invest in. Smith said there was a law of accumulation that turned self-interest into a better life for everyone. When the owner of a business got richer, he or she would expand the business and hire more people, which would make everybody else richer, and some of them would start their own businesses, and so on. This is where capitalism created opportunities, unlike feudal agriculture, where a small number of big shots owned the land and kept it in the family. And if you were born a peasant, you would live penniless and die penniless, and your children and their children would be stuck in the same rut forever. At the time Smith wrote his book, and throughout the century that followed, great thinkers were trying to find laws for everything. Scientists already had discovered physical laws, such as the law of gravity, the laws of planetary motion, and the laws for certain chemical reactions. People believed in an orderly universe, in which, if there were laws for how the planets move and how apples fall from the tree, there had to be laws for business, and laws for politics, and laws for how people react in different situations. Once you figured out the formula for how money gets passed around, for instance, you could predict exactly who would end up with how much. It was one thing to say there was a law of supply and demand, or a law for how money travels, and quite another to find a formula that could nail it down. But economists kept trying, coming up with new theories to reduce the hustle and bustle of the marketplace to a single equation. The funds do wars. One of the reasons they do wars is that fees and expenses are subtracted from a fund's performance. Some investors have given up trying to pick a fund that beats the averages, which has proven to be a difficult task. Instead, they choose a fund that is guaranteed to match the average, no matter what. This kind of fund is called an index fund. Stock. Becoming good at stock picking. Stocks that do well in the long run belong to companies that do well in the long run. The key to successful investing is finding successful companies. By browsing around, you can see what's selling and what isn't. By watching your friends, you know which computers they're buying, which brand of soda they're drinking, which movies they're watching, whether Reeboks are in or out. These are all important clues that can lead you to the right stocks. Don't try to time the market. Far more money has been lost by investors trying to anticipate corrections than has been lost in all the corrections combined. One of the worst mistakes you can make is to switch into and out of stocks or stock mutual funds, hoping to avoid the upcoming correction. It's also a mistake to sit on your cash and wait for the upcoming correction before you invest in stocks. In trying to time the market to sidestep the bears, people often miss out on the chance to run with the bulls.